Thank you, Chloe. This is news anchor Sheila Woodell coming to you live once again in front of Granny's house, where we have more of the story. Big Bad Wolf happened by, and he told me his version of what really happened in Granny's house. Honestly, Red Riding Hood was rotten. The story of Little Red Riding Hood as told by the wolf. By Trisha Speed Shaskan, illustrated by Gerald. Chomp, chomp. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just finishing my lunch. My name's Wolf, Big Bad Wolf. You may have heard that story of Little Red Riding Hood about the girl and her granny. Seems everyone has. My tale is different. Did I say tail? I mean tail. Once upon a time, I ran out of food. Completely. The cupboards were bare. Side note, cupboards means pantry or cabinets, whichever place you put your food. The freezer too. And I'd eaten every last vegetable and fruit in the garden. Every one. Other wolves might have lunched on little forest critters, chipmunks, bunnies, squirrels, but I'm a vegetarian, you see. That's right, I don't eat meat. Well, I try not to. I love apples, Honey Crisp, Pink Ladies, Golden Delicious, any kind really, but sadly, this was a long time until apple harvest. I hadn't eaten in weeks. My stomach growled and howled. It moaned, it groaned, it even roared. Then my nose took over. Sniff, sniff. I took a whiff. What is that? A girl. Sniff, sniff. I took a whiff. What was it? Cake. Butter. In the forest? I had to investigate. See his long old nose whiffing that nice aroma. And there she was, Little Red Riding Hood. She was pretty as plump and juicy as a big sweet apple. The Little Red waved her cape. Isn't it pretty? She said. Yeah, I said. Ain't I pretty? She said. Was she admiring herself in that puddle? With this cape, she said, I'm even prettier than usual. Boy, somewhere, someone sure was full of herself. My stomach growled. Little Red twirled a strand of her hair. Mother says the cape looks grand with my skin. My skin shines like pearls. Or the meat of a ripe apple, I thought, licking my chops. Remember, I hadn't eaten in weeks. Time to chomp. But then Little Red said, I can't wait until Granny sees how pretty I am today. I'll bring her Granny for breakfast, Little Red for lunch, and cake and butter for dessert. Where does Granny live? I asked. Little Red pointed. Down there in the clearing. The brown house. I knew that house, and I had a plan. Let's play a game, I said. Little Red smiled. I'm awesome at games. I bet you are, I said. You take this path, and I'll take that path. And Let's see who arrives at Granny's first. I will, she said. I'm the prettiest and the fastest. I bet you are, I said. My stomach moaned. Before it groaned, I ran. No one knows this forest like I do. I chose the shorter path. This path, that path. Sniff, sniff. I took a whiff. What was it? Apple air freshener. Tap, tap. I knocked at the door. Who's there? Called out a voice. Your granddaughter, I squeaked. I brought my cake and butter from Mother. Open the door, said Granny. Granny tugged at her nightcap. Green, she said, isn't it purty? Pretty like a green Granny Smith apple, I thought. Aren't I pretty? Said Granny. You must have heard the saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, it's true. My stomach roared. What's that noise? Granny asked. Chomp, chomp. I had to eat her. She was no Macintosh apple, but not too bad. I still felt hungry. Tap, tap. Little Red knocked at the door. Who's there? I called out, crawling into Granny's bed. Your granddaughter, said Little Red. I brought cake and butter from Mother. Doors open, I said. Little Red walked in and caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. Isn't my cake pretty, Granny? She says. Aren't I pretty? I clenched my teeth. Granny, Little Red said, what deep, dark eyes I have. I said, the color of apple seeds. Granny, she said, what perfect ears I have. I said, shaped like sharply cut apple slices. Granny, she said, what pretty red lips I have. See her lips? They match her cape. I said, red delicious. Granny, I said, what lovely skin I have. Oh, look at that. By now, I mean, he cannot stand himself. She is just tormenting him. Excuse me. Chomp, chomp. I ate her up. What can I say? Things look different when you're hungry. She was no Fuji or Crispin apple. In fact, to be honest, she was a bit rotten. But she was better than nothing. Plus, I got dessert. So who do you think is telling the truth? All this reporter knows is that Granny is missing. Or is she?